We are the biggest masjid in some of these surrounding areas. Dallas is the happening place for the Muslim. A lot of good scholars are here, mashallah. Great halal food. So we had to fly them in from Turkey to put the chandeliers up. They came from Turkey to install the chandeliers. Some people refuse to pray under this. I mean, you have to take the deen and dunya together. And I'm very proud to say we have 10 Muslims serving on the city of Frisco boards and commissions. I can't imagine living anywhere else.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar.
My name is Azfar and I am the current Amir, president of this masjid. I've been living in this area, Frisco, for 18 years now. We have been living here since the times when Frisco was a very small farm town to now it's a huge bustling place. When I came here, this was a town of probably 40,000 people. Now we have crossed 230,000. 18 years ago, we did not have a masjid in Frisco. We didn't have a musalla either. The first musalla was established here in 2007. I moved here in 2005. I used to go to the Plano Masjid. In 2007, Musalla was established. At that time, Frisco consisted of only 15 Muslim families. To the point where in 2016, we built this whole masjid. And now 7 years later, we are expanding this masjid 3 times the size of the current masjid. So we have expansion going on right now. As the population started growing, Muslims started moving in the area, obviously economic reasons, right?
Yeah.
Jobs were coming in here, the city was starting to grow. So more Muslims were moving in to the point where we ran out of space in our musalla, and then in 2010 or 11 we acquired the land here, and we realized that there is need for a full masjid here because the population is growing.
How big was the land?
About 10 acres. We built this masjid, it was 18,000 square feet of covered space that we are in right now. At its full capacity, it can accommodate 1,700 people. We are the biggest masjid in some of these surrounding areas, especially north of Frisco. Most of the population center is moving now north of Dallas, right? So
yes.
Frisco, Prosper, Salina, Aubrey. If we look at this masjid, in terms of actual design of the masjid, it's pretty typical, right? With the dome and the walls. But I think the thing that I always remember unique about this masjid is that these chandeliers and the carpet actually came from Turkey, along with the technicians that actually installed the chandeliers. They knew exactly how to put the chandeliers up. So we had to fly them in from Turkey to put the chandeliers up. One is here and one is in the lobby. They came from Turkey to install the chandeliers. It was quite an effort. It came in multiple pieces, and then the technicians from Turkey came and they put those pieces together, and they knew exactly how to lift it the right way and install it up there in the ceiling. At that time, there was a board member and he conceived this idea. Generally, Turkish Islamic architecture is very beautiful, and this was the desire that let's make something unique in this masjid that people can remember. And I think this story of this chandelier probably will stay in this masjid until the masjid is here till the day of judgment, because this is very unique to identify the chandelier, and then it has this speciality where the technicians have to come from there and build it.
That's a lot of effort, and it's something that when you enter you immediately realize.
Yeah, it's massive.
Yes, mashallah.
And there is a funny story actually with this chandelier also. When it was installed and we first opened, some people refused to pray under this.
Oh, really?
They were a little scared. This looks big and this looks heavy. Is this secure or not?
And then how did you?
But eventually with time, I mean, that they realized that everyone else is praying. So
Wow. That would have been must have been quite a.
I know.
Mashallah, they put their trust in Allah.
Yeah.
Subhanallah. The sisters, where do they pray?
Sisters are all on the second floor. If you see up there, and if this glass wall is actually partitioning the sisters area on the second floor. So they all pray there. But since right now we do not have a multi-purpose hall, so the sisters hall is also used as a general space for doing our classes and seminary things and programs also. But eventually, once the expansion is complete, all of that thing is going to move in there.
So the fact that there are so many Muslims moving to Frisco makes it a justified need that the masjid needs to expand.
Absolutely. Especially during COVID, a lot of families have moved. I mean, there is a huge influx of Muslim population from West Coast, from Chicago. There are many reasons, but I think when we talk to them, the main 2 reasons are Dallas is the happening place for the Muslims. A lot of good scholars are here, mashallah. We are blessed. A lot of good masajid, a lot of good Muslim institutions are here. They want their children to be attached to their deen. That's why they are preferring to move here. And within the Dallas area, Frisco is the most happening place right now.
MashaAllah.
So everybody wants to be here.
And by happening in Frisco, could you elaborate?
When I say happening place, in terms of job market, great place to be living in terms of finding good schools for your children to go. Recently, full-time Islamic school opened here very close to Frisco, which is very convenient for people. Great halal food, lots of halal places in Frisco and surrounding. It's a beautiful place to live in. As I said, I have lived here 18 years. I can't imagine living anywhere else now.
Oh, really? MashaAllah, brother. That's amazing. Because you've been here from the beginning, and you've seen the community grow, and it continues to grow.
Another thing that I want to highlight specifically is that it's a personal passion also, but when we live at a place, we have to make sure that we are giving back to our communities that we are part of. Right? And with that, it's not just about money or donating, it's also about, we live in city of Frisco, what are we doing for city of Frisco, right? So we have been promoting that from this masjid a lot in the last few years, that go and do your civic duty. Voting is one, very important as Muslims. Let's go, let's vote, let's make sure our voices are heard. Second thing is, every city here has boards and commissions, participate on them. And I'm very proud to say that from the time 4 years ago where we only had 2 people serving on the city of Frisco boards and commissions, we are at a point where we have 10 people serving now.
10 Muslims?
10 Muslims.
Really?
Serving on the city of Frisco boards and commissions. So we have made a lot of ground to put the Muslim representation here at the city level. And that's something that I would like your audience to know about, and they should go and participate and give back to the communities, right? We have responsibilities as a citizen of this country that we need to fulfill apart from our responsibilities to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
And tell us about the political activism that you were talking about earlier.
When I talk about political activism, it is about staying connected to the leadership that represents your area, right? And there are many ways to do it. Taking part when they are campaigning, which I have done. We had a candidate here, Dulu Saikali, that ran for District 3, which we are part of. I served on her campaign. Sadaf Haq, a Muslim sister that ran for the city council. She ran a great campaign even though she was not able to win. I was there to help her out. But I also do a lot of issue-based campaigning also. As I said previously, that things that Muslims care about, we need to promote those. And as part of that, I recently joined an organization called Minaret Foundation. They promote different issues to the lawmakers and see if they can be turned into some legislative agenda items and can be turned into laws. So they've been working very hard. I joined their Religious Freedom Public Policy Committee. We're going to be seeing issues of religious discrimination if it's happening in public space, or educational items that do not align with our Muslim identity, how to address those, things like that. So those are the things that I work on apart from responsibilities here at the masjid.
MashaAllah. So it's not just about coming to the masjid and praying, but also you feel as a Muslim, as a citizen of the United States as well, it's our duty to bring these two identities together.
Absolutely. I mean, you have to take the deen and dunya together. Yeah. This separation is not feasible and it doesn't work, right? It is important where we live, we give the haqq of that place also, and then the haqq of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also.
Allah also tells us to where you live to be a contributing citizen.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think it's important for us also that, especially people my age, I'm always thinking ahead that as my children are growing up here, we need this place to be more inclusive, more accepting of the Muslim identity. It's something we need to be proud of. Go out there and educate people about. A lot of misconceptions is because we don't get involved. We don't tell people who we are. So the more we will engage with our lawmakers, people that are decision makers, tell them who we are, I think it's going to help our future generations fare better in this country.
Yeah, I agree, brother. Because you need a seat at the table, so you have to work for it. Right?
Absolutely. The best thing that we can do to our children here in this country is that give them a solid foundation of their deen. whatever they pursue in their life. What I have learned with my life is that the basic foundation of the deen that was instilled in me as a child, even if during my midlife I wasn't as practicing or as pious a Muslim as I would like to be, eventually I came back to my roots. In today's world where there are so many distractions, make sure you get their foundation right. Eventually, they will find their connection back to the deen, and that's really going to save them from all the ills that are going on around us.
If you work during the early years as Muslim parents, as you mentioned, anything can happen later on, but it'll be in their subconscious. So
Absolutely.
deep rooted.
Deep rooted. And to be able to do that, lip service is not enough. To instill that foundation, you have to lead by example. Bring them to the masjid. We all know that in today's life, maybe you can't pray 5 prayers with Jama'ah in the masjid. Make it a point, I'll come at least once a day. I'll come and pray my Isha or my Maghrib, bring my child with me. That consistency is what creates that foundation. Consistency is important. It's not what a specific school of thought you're teaching them or what specific principles you're teaching them about Islam. It's the consistency and the attachment to the masjid that's going to put the foundation there in their heart. It's like you tell them go pray namaz and then you're not even praying at home. That doesn't serve any purpose. Or you tell them when you're coming to the masjid, don't wear shorts. Then you come to pick them up from your school and you are wearing shorts. I mean, what message are you sending to your child,
Yes,
right?
yes.
The message needs to be consistent to them. Even if they get busy in their life and they're not as practicing, or they will eventually come back to it.
My name is Brandon Ritchie. I'm the operations director for the Islamic Center of Frisco. I'm in charge of the oversight of the masjid, the operations, the supplies, what the committees need, the setup, the teardown, essentially all the day-to-day stuff. We have a lot of educational programs. We have a Quran Academy, which is like a full-time memorization program and also a part-time program. We have S2E4 Seminary, which is a fiqh and jurisprudence class for middle school and high schoolers. Right. We have a Sunday school, of course. We have a Uswa Seminary, which is similar to S2E4, but for adults. Of course, outside educational programs, we have our community assistance program to help those in need. We have committees for youth. We have committees for the sisters. We have committees for seniors. We do just about everything I can think of here, which is why we've sort of reached our capacity as far as what we're able to offer. I think all of our educational programs are at the point where we have wait lists for each one, and the wait lists are long enough where we wouldn't have to take any more enrollment for the rest of the year, and we still wouldn't be able to get through all our applications.
Wow. And how long has this been the case?
I would say probably for the last, it's a year and a half, 2 years, we've reached the point where we realize that we're at capacity.
This masjid has just grown tremendously. Now we are at a point where we don't have a space to accommodate everyone. I mean, if you really look from the program's perspective that we do here, our Sunday school runs in 2 shifts with more than 500 students, and we still have a waiting list of more than 100 students there. Our seminary for middle school and high school kids has more than 350 students, and we still have a waiting list. So that's why in 2019 we embarked on this expansion project. We can accommodate the influx of all these new Muslim families that are coming in. And the expansion is going to, once it's complete, make the masjid 3 times the size it is now. We are at 18,000 square feet. By the time expansion is done, we will be close to 50,000 square feet.
So it's going to be a huge, and when is that expected to be complete?
So inshallah, the first floor of the expansion is going to open for this Ramadan, and then inshallah after that we'll start the second floor.
We offer 3 Jummahs. We have to offer 3 because we couldn't possibly pack everybody in, and the first to spread them out a little bit to give everybody a chance to come pray Jummah at the masjid. Usually it's 2, but surprisingly all 3 will see the entire hall here packed, as well as each of these classrooms that act as overflow. So the first Jummah we have to push people out into the lobby and in the hallway and even in the kitchen, and we're shoulder to shoulder all the way to the back of the masjid.
On Jummahs, we are bursting at the seams, so sometimes we are forcing in about 2,000 people in here. But as I said, as the growth has been consistent, we are so big now that we have to do 3 Jummahs to accommodate everyone. We are more than 4,000 Muslims that actually come and pray the Jummahs here in 3 different prayers. Eid congregation is even bigger. We became so huge that now it is becoming impossible to pray our Eid namaz here. So for the last two Eid prayers, we are actually renting a baseball field, Rough Riders field, where we are praying our Eid prayers. And the last Eid Salah, which was not necessarily all Frisco, but Frisco and surrounding areas, 15,000 people attended that Eid prayer in the open stadium.
15,000.
Yeah, and it was quite a phenomenon to the point where actually media covered us because it was something unique for them, people coming in a stadium and praying.
And when was that?
First one was in the last Eid al-Fitr and then the Eid al-Azha again.
So every Eid prayer, the people are increasing.
Absolutely.
So is this like a joint event with other masajids?
Some of the smaller masajid around us, like the Masjid in Mikini, a Musalla in Aubrey, a Musalla in Plano. So this was a joint effort of them. So these are all areas that Frisco Masjid serves, the surrounding areas.
Each classroom is sort of set up and used during the educational programs. Safwa will use the Sisters Hall. Quran Academy uses every classroom space that we have in the building. Sunday school as well. Sunday school has filled up every square inch of the building to fit 400 plus students.
What's Safwa exactly? What does that mean?
So it's sort of like selected sirah and jurisprudence teachings for kids who are at that point where they're learning a little bit more advanced information about the faith, like, you know, things like related to fiqh, you know, to the history, like just kind of knowing more about like what Islam is and how we practice it. Each class will meet once during the week and then once on Saturdays for an hour each. So it's 2 hours for each one for the middle schoolers and the high schoolers, from 6 to 8 Tuesday through Thursday, and then from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. on Saturday. Of course, we have our family nights once a month on Friday. We have scholars who will come visit and give lectures and talks. We'll have a trivia night for kids. We have a lot of youth programs, which also have like sort of sit downs with Sheikh Mubin and like, or visiting scholars. We try to get creative with like what we offer. We also have like the kids will come, or teenagers will come, you know, either all boys for one night or all girls for another night. And they'll stay overnight, you know, with other scholars and other teachers and like basically pray and like learn more about the faith. And then like they'll usually have breakfast at Fajr and then they'll leave.
Really?
So we try to stay engaged with the community from top to bottom.
So they stay overnight at the masjid?
Yeah, it's infrequent. Maybe like once every like 3 to 6 months we'll do something like that. Especially during Ramadan, you know, we'll have something like that. Like, it's a way for them to sort of spend a Friday night, you know, like here with us. And we also have a lot of interfaith events with other churches or synagogues in the area or even outside the area. We have a civics committee which is engaged with like local politics and sort of like how we can sort of get the community involved in politics and like to basically let the Frisco community know that we're here. You know, we make up a very large percentage of the population and we should be active, you know, in the political sphere as well.
So usually masajid don't do that, but here it seems like it's essential.
Yeah, it's very important to sort of make connections within your community, you know, with like the police and the firefighters and the mayor and the city hall and all those people, is to let them know that we're here and that, you know, we're not just on the edge of town, you know, or like we're going to keep to ourselves and we're not going to like get involved in anything. It's like, no, we're very much a part of this community. We'll usually invite people from outside the masjid to come have events here, especially during Ramadan. We do a lot of iftars, you know, interfaith iftars.
Really?
Or iftars with like different like city officials, just to kind of tell them more about our faith and like why do we fast? What does it mean, you know, like to fast during Ramadan and all that stuff. It's educational and outreach at the same time. We're growing so quickly and we need so much more space and so much more in the way of involvement from the community. And I think if we get everything that we're asking for, inshallah, then we'll become a very positive force for change in this community, but also in DFW at large.
Anything a Muslim can hope for, and then enjoy the PGA if you like to play golf. Now we are the headquarters of PGA, the golf.
Really?
We have Cowboys headquarters here in Frisco.
The World Cup soccer games are going to be here, right?
Yes.
FC Dallas.
And we recently had Messi play a game here. He's in MLS. Inter Miami came here and played with FC Dallas. So it was very amazing to see a world-class player right in your backyard. For the residents of Frisco, the PGA course is actually open. We can go and play anytime we want.
Wow.
So that's an amazing facility.
Free.
Yeah.
That's for free.
Or when cowboys are practicing their football, you can go watch their practices for free and interact with the players.
So the deen and the dunya, mashallah.
Absolutely.
Everything is here, mashallah.
All the halal fun.
Tell us about the expansion project. How much money is being spent? How much money do you need? And
Expansion project is in two phases. We are building right now 2 floors that have 2 multi-purpose halls, and we have classrooms, as I said, body washing space, more offices for our imams and youth director and other scholars. And then the phase 2 is that we are going to build a gym also attached to it
really?
for our youth with a walking track. The whole project is going to cost us about $12.5 million. The phase 1 is going to cost us about $10 million. Of that, we are almost there in terms of raising $8 million. We are still short on $2 million. So far, the community, mashallah, has come forward and helped us out. I mean, as you can understand, for this phase, we need $2 million. For the next phase, for the gym, we need another $2 million. So to call it a wrap on this project, inshallah.
Yeah.
One of the things in expansion that was a big need of this community was that we have an area where you can prepare the funeral. So body washing and all can be done right here, the ghusl. Prior to that, everybody has to go to Richardson, 35-40 minutes from here to get it done. Once this expansion is done, that facility will be here for the whole community to utilize, not just Frisco, but even the surrounding areas.
That is a huge accomplishment, because that has become such a need, because so many
Absolutely.
people moving, mashallah, already.
There are many ways to donate. You can go on our website, www.friscomasjid.org. If you want to donate to general operations of the mosque, construction button. If you want to turn this into a sadaqah-e-jariyah by taking part in expanding our masjid, inshallah. And you can also donate to our zakat fund or our education fund. So our website has all the details on the donations. And as I said, Zelle or direct, you can pay using the website.
Is there any final message that you'd like to talk about to the audience?
First of all, I appreciate you. You're doing an amazing job.
Thank you.
I hope this journey, inshallah, takes you to places where it results in your own spiritual enrichment as well, gets you close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and gets you closer to the deen. I think this is going to open some amazing doors for you in your life that you probably would have never thought of. To your audience, make the masjid your center of life. That's it.
Simple but very powerful, brother, what you just said, mashallah.
Alhamdulillah.
Everything revolves around that center.
Yeah.
I understand what you're saying, brother, mashallah. Thank you so much for your
No problem
time.
at all. Thank you for coming here.
Of course. It's Allah's blessings to be in Allah's house, alhamdulillah.